Hello, my name's Pearce and I'm here at beautiful Denman to show you some floral art videos. As well as conditioning plant material, we may also want to use some preserved plant materials in floral art. And there's a number of things that you can actually do. One of them is actually glycerin in plant material, which preserves it for life. And I've got here just a few examples of some of the plant material that I have actually conditioned in this way and preserved in this way. This is the wonderful Alchemilla mollis, which probably weeds all over your garden. It's just self-seeding plant and is a lovely yellow limey green flower in the summertime. Well, if you catch it before it actually goes over and preserve it in glycerin, it comes out really, really soft and lovely. Now, to use the glycerin, you use 1 part glycerin to 2 parts boiling water. Mix it up really, really well, allow it to cool, and then into a vase, you just put about an inch, inch and a half of the solution once it's cooled down. Cut your flowers nice and fresh, condition them well, cut the stems, put them into water, allow them to take up water for about 8 hours, and then you can recut the stems and put them straight into the glycerin solution. And the solution will gradually go up through the plant. Once everything has changed colour, you then take the plant's material out of the glycerin solution and you can then store it. And I just wipe the bottoms of the stem to get the excess off and store them in cardboard boxes in my garage where it's nice and cool. So that's the Alchemilla mollis. You can also do the same with the lovely aspidistra leaves, and these turn this beautiful yellowy colour. But these take a long, long time. They can take months and months to glycerin, and you will gradually see the glycerin coming up through the stems here, and they do literally take a very, very long time. But the results are wonderful, and again, that lovely, soft, pliable, preserved plant material, which then you can use in your arrangements. Also beech, which is a lovely one to use as well. That will glycerin really, really well. The copper beech particularly nice from the hedges, and that again will last. Now, depending on where you actually do the glycerining, I tend to do it in my garage because I like that really dark mahogany colour. If you do it in the sunlight, say on the windowsill, they're likely to turn out a lot lighter than that, but just as effective. And as I say, these will last forever, and you can use them in with fresh floral plant material, and they look absolutely delightful. I've got a selection here of just garden plant material and stuff from the hedgerows, which I just allow to dry. Let it dry in situ, actually in the garden, and the birds then have the chance to take the seeds from them. And we have the Aquilegia here, or Granny's bonnets, some Crocosmia, some teasels, which I get from the hedgerows, of course, poppy seed heads, which are really nice. And all of these spray beautifully if you want to use them in Christmas designs, for example. I spray them gold and silver and use them in amongst my Christmas designs. And then, of course, there's the grasses, the wheats and the barleys, which you can just dry on their own. And a big favourite is actually using alliums, and I have a selection of alliums here. This is Schubertii, and this is Christophi, and this one I can't remember the name of, but an equally big one, and just the mop head ones as well. And I allow these to dry in the garden as they are, and cut them before we get too much wet weather, because otherwise they'll start to go soggy. And this one I've just cut from the garden today, and it's just running to seed. I would still leave that in the garden now until it goes lovely and brown. It will dry like this, but it doesn't maintain the shape as well as if when you've left it just outside to dry on its own. And as you can see, I've sprayed these. This one I've sprayed silver, and indeed the big Schubertii I've sprayed silver too. And just a few more bits here that I've got that I've dried. And in the way that I actually dried the glycerins, the aspidistra leaves, they are quite interesting if you just allow them to dry on their own as well. And this is amaranthus, which again will dry very nicely. And this comes in pink or in green, but obviously once it's dried, it just maintains this lovely golden colour. And the final one I've got for you, these are some of the plants that I've manipulated in different ways, creating a totally different shape to the leaves. And they all, most of these started off as phormium leaves, which is the New Zealand flax, which we have just manipulated in different ways, creating really lovely, interesting designs. These roses, sort of simulating flowers, just plaited and woven in different styles. And of course, this is a technique that needs to be learnt, and is, you know, is one that I've learnt over the years to do. But this particular flower is really, really nice to use, as you can see. And again, these can be sprayed, and as they dry, they shrink slightly. This is one I made yesterday for you, and you can see how tightly woven the weave is on there, but it will dry and open up quite a lot. And then the piece de resistance for me is actually creating something with palm leaves. And this is a technique that I have here. I'll just put these in the vase for you so you can see. And this is a technique of plaiting palm leaves. And again, beautiful shapes that we can use in floral designs, creating lovely S shapes for a big floral Hogarth curve. And again, this is the one I made yesterday, and you know, this will dry in exactly the same way as this, and you can then spray those different colours if you want to as well. So that's just some ways of actually preserving plant materials to use, particularly when plants are scarce or when budget is short, and these will just last forever.